All right. Well, let's give Triple H some credit here with the Women's Revolution and the Evolution pay-per-view coming up this week. So we did want to.
Stephanie did invent women's wrestling. That's well documented.
We do want to talk about this a little bit. Now, the card seems to be a bit of a mess. They seem to be having problems with people being healthy of late, although we did just get Sasha Banks back. But now Alexa Bliss reportedly, I think I read, dealing with a concussion and some question of whether she's even going to be able to go.
Yeah, her first match back. Yeah.
Yeah.
The arm injury, so.
I've been hyping that match, the tag with Alexa and Mickie James against Trish and Lita. Obviously, you got the two Hall of Famers coming back. Now that could be in jeopardy for all we know.
They could keep her on. They could keep her. Well, if she has a concussion, they probably can't put her out there at all. They've got a pretty strict protocol for that.
Yeah.
I mean, you can limit her in a tag match, obviously.
Mm-hmm. We've got the Ronda Nikki stuff, regardless of what side of the aisle you're on that one and where you come down on that one. But I do think the Becky Charlotte feud has been very good, and so you do have that going for it. I think almost certainly Rousey and Nikki are going to main event. But when it comes to how the stories have been built, I put Charlotte and Becky out there. What would you guys put on last?
Charlotte and Becky for sure. Just because there's, I would say, next to like 0% chance that that's a bad match. Whereas I have some major concerns about Ronda and Nikki. I mean, obviously they're probably going to, really put the time in to make sure everybody looks good, like they have been for all of Ronda's matches. But I have some pretty major concerns with those two.
Mm-hmm.
I think Becky and Charlotte will go on last, only because I have a very outside the box idea for the show.
Okay. Well,
do tell.
Yeah. Okay.
Go ahead.
First off, I think, just an overview of the show. I think there's like kind of this sentiment that this show is the build for this has been disappointment. Maybe it has, in the sense that, I was kind of expecting this to kind of be like the women's division's WrestleMania, and it clearly isn't. I think we didn't have a chance to talk last week about the big controversy with the Ronda Nikki promo. Some people, I thought people were out to lunch invoking the slut shaming.
Yeah, I thought I liked it. Yeah, I thought that too.
I thought, again, as far as now, if you thought that, you could think whatever you want. Okay. But to me, when I was watching that promo, I didn't get that. I was like, this is I can't remember the last time actually I had seen a back and forth promo on WWE where it felt like you could actually cut the tension between the two performers. They weren't just reciting these lines that, people on screen who are feuding would say. It felt like legit tension.
Yeah.
And they are very much building this thing where Ronda is the new face of the women's division. Athleticism, Nikki's the dinosaur, diva. We're promoting athleticism over looks now. So I did not have a problem with all. Meltzer was raving about it in the Observer, and I was with him. And sometimes I'm not always with Dave, but I was with them. So here's my idea. And keep in mind, this is the podcast where we called Daniel Bryan would return. We said Shawn Michaels was going to return in the tag match. I am less confident in this idea because I am leaning on Meltzer in a report he had about Survivor Series a while back. And granted, he's been barking up this tree for a while about the horsewomen angle. Okay. Now, I invoked that, and Justin, Ryan, and everyone listening is probably like, well, how the fuck are you going to do that, given the lay of the land? You've got this Charlotte-Becky feud. Hear me out. Okay, Shayna Baszler is going to be on that show, right? And I think she's main roster bound because they're not going to put the title back on her, the NXT Women's title.
Mm-hmm.
Let's say you do Ronda and Nikki in the middle of the show. Charlotte and Becky closes. Charlotte wins the title back, which I don't think is out of the realm of possibility. Ronda Rousey in the show closing angle comes out to congratulate Charlotte Flair. The rest of the horsewomen come out and are more antagonistic towards Charlotte. Surround her. It's 4-on-1 situation. Becky Lynch, Charlotte's best, Shayna Baszler's kind of being the most antagonistic. Becky Lynch, former friend of Charlotte, just been beaten, is kind of still around ringside, and steps back in for her friend Charlotte. Sasha and Bayley run out. You've got the match set at Survivor Series.
think the crowd would love that. I could see him doing that.
Yes. I just, to me, like, I think this show is like, you should do a major angle at it. And that's like before they went all in. You know, when the show was first announced, obviously they had not gone all in on this Becky Charlotte thing. And that was my idea, that they were going to do a horsewoman confrontation on the show. The pros of doing that is you have sort of then both satisfied the audience in that Becky will be positioned as a strong baby face, and you will then have but she's not in the way of Charlotte, which they clearly don't want, the promotion. Again, I could be completely out to lunch. I mean, we could be talking next week, and that could be the dumbest freaking thing anyone's ever heard on a podcast.
No, I like that idea.
Yeah, there was 2 or 3 moments where I wanted to shoot that down, but you've really sold me on it. Especially because the reason I wanted to shoot it down was because at first I felt like that was just going to kind of torpedo all the momentum they have with Becky Lynch right now. But it does kind of save her at the end there, you know.
Yeah.
Because here's the thing: do we think Charlotte's going to win?
I don't know. I mean, in that circumstance, I think you almost have to do it, maybe.
Because are they going to change a ton? Because Nikki Bella's not beating Ronda Rousey. We know that.
No way.
We know that. Although to get to what Justin said, I think that match is actually, there's going to be a lot of bells and whistles in that match, certainly. Yeah. I think that match is going to be actually very good. Nikki Bella, who we all complimented on the show a couple weeks ago, is phenomenal in her role in this feud, with a capital phenomenal.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think you should do something memorable. I think you should do some kind of story that will make people remember this show. And if it's just a match by match card, I don't know that you'll have that. I think to do what you're proposing, you have to have the title switch, but then when you bring Becky in that situation, she's protected. I think if they just do a title switch and that's that, it would be crazy to do that to Becky right now.
I agree.
But I think in that circumstance, she's protected, and that could work out very well. So
I guess my scenario is, if you are doing the title change, that's the way to protect Becky Lynch.
Oh yeah,
there is the situation where you just have Becky retain and just keep going on as is. I guess you could do that too.
Yeah. No, I like that. I was thinking main event wise, like this is the company that usually, puts the star power in. So you got Ronda Rousey, she's going in the main event. But if they're going to do something like that, that should definitely main event. And like I said, I think that story they've been telling with Becky and Charlotte is heads and shoulders above everything else on the card.
Hell, there's not. Look, I'll be the bad guy here. This Trish Lita thing absolutely reeks. I know that they're both looked at as these all-time legends in the women's division. Neither of them would be in the top 10 on today's.
Well, I'd prefer seeing the singles match that they were originally going to do with Trish and Alexa,
which apparently was never the plan.
Yeah, and that was never the plan. I did see
they leaked it out. And they said, "Oh, it was always going to be a tag match." Not only do I think Trish and Lita, well, I liked the idea of Alexa and Trish because I liked the idea of Trish putting over Alexa.
Mm-hmm.
I think Trish and Lita are winning in Evolution because the reports are that they're staying around. And look, man, I just kind of said it that I don't think Trish and Lita, even in their primes, to be clear, would be top 10 today in the women's division. And I think it's also fair. I'm going to take this a step further. I think the two of them could be bottom 10% in WWE history as far as cutting promos. It is. It is. I mean, we criticize. Look, I'm being fair. The first time it's okay, maybe it's jitters. Trish Stratus is, God bless her, she is not good on promos at all, and it is it sticks out like a sore thumb. I mean, am I out to lunch here? Or?
Yeah,
I think they've been awful. I mean, I think the promos have been just nothing short of atrocious.
Yeah, I mean, they're no Alexa Bliss, that's for sure. Yeah,
I mean, Alexa was carrying those segments. If not for her, I mean, and that promo they cut last week was bad.
I just had to turn down our thermostats. These takes are getting so hot.
I fucking love Justin Joy with all my heart and soul.
There it is.
I just think, I don't know, man. I just think that they're looked at these all-time greats, and fuck, man, there's 10 or 15 women on this card that are better than them.
It's true. For their time, Trish was great, but and Lita was great, but the way wrestling has evolved in the women's division, it's true. Most of the women in the division now are above what they were doing 15 years ago. So,
Do you view this card as a disappointment going in?
I don't know that my expectations were ever like super high, but I don't think I'm particularly excited about it. Justin,
I was just gonna say it's not really the card; it's the build and how it's been overshadowed by Crown Jewel. Not only because of all the negativity about Crown Jewel, but also just the way WWE's been promoting it. I mean, Evolution has been, to me, regarded as an afterthought.
yeah,
and that's what hurts for me.
So, okay. I think the 2 title matches have been built well. I mean, the Ronda Nikki thing, it's been pretty limited since they did, but from the turn all the way through TV this past week, on Raw this week, I think it's been outstanding. Becky and Charlotte, it's going to be a pretty hot crowd. The Battle Royal thing is what rubs me the wrong way, because they promised all these women were going to have this card. I thought like they were going to come up with creative ways, like women were going to get feuds, and it was going to be all about, I want to wrestle you on this card. And man, if there isn't a lazier booking idea in the history of this industry than just throwing a battle royal on, I don't know what it is, man.
Well, the problem is they booked it with the NXT UK women's match and the NXT and Mae Young.
UK women's isn't even on it, but you're right. The Mae Young thing in the NXT, there's some people who, that's actually lazy booking too. Because it's like, okay, we'll have this match, but like, that stuff is kind of existing in an alternate universe.
Mm-hmm.
But, having said that, I'm more interested in those matches than I would be. And this is only because of the size of the women's roster than a bunch of, random matches that we've probably already seen,
Well, that is a good point. You're right. I will agree there.
And I love a good battle royal. I'm fine with it.
Oh, I thought when they announced that, I said, "Oh, come on."
Well, and you got the 6-woman match, Sasha, Bailey, and Natalya and the Riot Squad, which is kind of a throwaway situation as well.
But that's another interesting thing that kind of, with that idea that I threw out there, Sasha and Bailey are kind of elevated above the fray, so to speak. They get a win, okay, that maybe sets them up for involvement in, a big scenario later. Again, that idea could be could prove to be one of the stupidest ideas anyone's ever said on a podcast. I don't know. I just threw it out there.
Well, next week, Kyle, you might look like a genius. We'll see.